Hello, it is 6:30 and I'm going to wait for Sunny B to join me. And I also want to record on my other phone, so give me a moment. Sunny, yay! Hey! Alright, I'm going to add her invite. Hi!
Hey, I'm
I'm,
so excited.
yes, I'm actually screen recording from my other phone.
Oh, good.
Yes. That way, in case anything happens, we at least have that. You look so cute.
Thank you. That's nice.
I was like,
I'm.
go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I love your banter. I love your banter not so
Thank.
much.
Hi.
Hey, Molly Cats.
Yeah. So excited to dig into this conversation with you.
I
Like,
know. I
uh,
know.
should we just like go, or should we like wait a little bit? I feel like we could just.
Let's. You ready to just do it? Well, let's wait a minute or two. I think it's just you and I right now,
And I
and
think
then.
I think we can send our live to people. So that's what I want to do. Is like if you click on that little arrow at the bottom, or like the little looks like a paper plane, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can send it to your friends so that they know that like you're live. And I'll send it to a few people who I know said that they wanted to tune in.
Gotcha. There
Yeah.
we go.
And then we can wait a few minutes. Beep, beep.
All right. We got some people rolling in, maybe.
Hey, um,
It's that dinner time, though. It's like that dinner time hour.
right?
It's good. Like for me, like that's the best time. I'm on the go all day.
That's how I feel. Yes. Well, thank you guys for joining. I'm excited. Okay.
Oh, you froze for a second. I was like, oh no,
Oh no,
what happened?
I was like posing.
She's posing.
Yeah, stop it.
Pose. Strike a pose.
Yeah, I do that.
Hey, there we go. There we go.
So, yay. I was like, I know a few people said, "Oh, I want to join in." Thank you for joining our conversation.
Oh,
Our first yoga chat of our three-part series.
it's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one. So I'll just jump in there and I'll just introduce myself. This is your
Yeah,
platform.
yeah.
I am Sunny with Sunny B Yoga. I am a 500-hour RYT yoga teacher. I specialize more in making things accessible. So I teach a variety of different yoga classes, but mostly I do chair yoga and anything where I can just make it more equitable throughout the room so that everybody can be a part of the practice. I'm in the panhandle of Florida. I'm all the way down here. So thank you for having me, Trinity. I'm so excited that you invited me to join you for this.
I am so excited to have you here with me. Honestly, I really do. Thank you for introducing yourself. Thank you for telling everybody, like in Florida, that's where I want to be. I'm up here in Philadelphia. For all of you from Sunny's page and don't know who I am, my Trinity. Witchy Yogi Join is my yoga business, and my personal page is Trend. So, like you'll see, but this is my business page. And I am a 200-hour certified yoga instructor. And my main flow is Vinyasa flow, but I love
Oh,
to make it accessible to everyone. So I do a lot of poses or a lot of, I use every single prop you could probably imagine almost. Love props. And I love modifying things for people, like doing any type of modifications in a practice or teaching a class is like a must for me. So I thought that this conversation would be great for us to build. No, am
I'm
I?
gonna, yeah, there you are. So yes, I jokingly call myself a prop goddess. Like I have like elevated myself to a goddess level when it comes to props. I just tell people to expect when you come to my classes that you're going to use everything. So this kind of brings us to our topic this week of
Yes.
inclusivity in yoga. What do you think of inclusive? How would you define inclusivity in yoga, Trinity?
The inclusivity is meaning accessibility to all. That is like as simply and as plainly as I can put it. Um, in my own words, is making sure that yoga is accessible to each individual person, whether they are older, younger, middle aged, stressed, disabled, things like that. I feel like it's something that is not shown to be inclusive, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
really including everyone, making sure
Yeah.
that all
not just not just the identities of some people, but including everyone that's in the room.
yeah
Just getting everybody there who is ready to come in. We've got that. You kind of touched on that archetype of what a yogi or what a yoga body is, and it is just normally all that we've seen, and most of us know this, that it's just usually shown to be for affluent, skinny white women, usually younger. And we need people to see that yoga is really and
for
truly for everybody. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a singular thing, and it's also making it accessible. So for me, it comes to poses. When people think of yoga, they think of posing, and like yoga is all about getting your body into a pose, which is the complete opposite of what yoga is. It's learning how to accept what you're able to do. And I feel like, yes, and then, yes. And I feel like that's why a lot of people stray away from it, because they see these expectations that are placed by society onto a practice that is not that has never really been fully integrated into our society. If that makes sense, it's like they took what they thought was important, which was the poses and the postures of yoga, the asanas, and that is what the forefront is. And because certain people feel like they cannot bend their body in those specific ways, then they feel like that is not the space for them. Like I hear people say things all the time, like, "Oh, I wouldn't be able to do the yoga because I can never do that." And it's like, but that's why you can modify a pose. Warrior Two doesn't always have to look the way it's shown in the, like when you look up Warrior Two. There's different variations to each pose. It's learning how to move from this to this, like in the spectrum. And I think
Well, yeah, and it just makes sense because not everybody's body looks the same. So our yoga poses, our yoga shouldn't all look the same. So like by nature, yoga should be inclusive to everybody. But it's just unfortunate that it's not really, that maybe some yoga studios or some things like this, like really, they don't intentionally try to exclude people, but they struggle to include everybody. Like this is a big thing. And then hopefully that, we can help spread more of this information and help people understand. I taught a new class. I started a new class yesterday at a senior center, and quite a variety, because you only have to be 55 and up to be able to come to this. So you can have anybody from 55 to 85 coming into this yoga class. And there was one person who had never done it before, and you could see the fear on her face. And she was just like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I belong here. And I'm like, well, first of all, you're probably the youngest person in the room. And if that's what you're looking around, like, you're going to be okay. And then also, like, just give me a chance today and let's see how you feel. And then there was another a woman who came in. She thought she had signed up for a chair yoga class. She came in and it was a gentle mat on the floor class. And she was like apologizing to me. I'm sorry, I signed up for the class. I thought it was chair yoga. She's visiting from out of state.
oh,
She's not familiar with the schedule. And it was a brand new class on the schedule. And I just said, you don't have to leave. Like, you can still be a part of this class. I can't get on the floor. That's okay. Let's bring the floor to you. Let's pull out a couple of chairs, and you can still participate in this class. You don't have to leave. You don't have to apologize. Like, you belong here too. And and she was just so super excited. She was like, "Yay!" Because I already paid for it, you know. And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. We would take care of you." But that was awesome.
I love that story. I think that that's amazing that y'all were able to come to that conclusion. And I want to know, like, I have a question for you, actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because you have a feed off the question kind of shift. Because you just gave me an example of how you do, like, made someone feel inclusive. But I want to know, like, was there a time that you ever felt excluded so that we can see the opposite and how that feels? And I know we probably have 10 millions of those because we both can do that. But I want to give like one specific, like something stand out that's like, hey, this is an example I can give to like what not to do if you're
Right.
thinking of yoga or how you should.
And if anybody watching has something they want to share too, please put it in
Yeah.
the comments too. We want to hear what you have to say. But
That,
absolutely. I mean, I came to yoga a couple of different times, and the last time that I like came in and it stuck, right? Like, it stuck. I started coming and it was practicing in a bigger body. I also have chronic illness. So there's not a lot of you never know. There's no predictability as to which body is going to show up for the class today. And so you might have seen me do this in a class before, but today, you know, my body's saying, no, that's not going to happen. And coming into the studios and first being told, well, it was a different one. And just being told, like, well, you can just take a child's pose and rest while we're doing everything else. I was not included in our YTT quite a bit because we're going to do arm balances and inversions. That's not your jam. So go ahead and you can sit and watch. Well, why didn't you show me how I can do it? Because I can show you now. I could be like, you could do this with a chair. You can do this with, there were so many other things. But I do remember I went to a gym once, took a yoga class at the gym. This was before we had a yoga studio in town, and was like, oh, okay, I really like this. And I tried to buy a membership, and they wouldn't sell me a membership. They wouldn't even talk to me. They were just like, yeah, maybe this isn't for you. And I was like, hello, I just did the class. I take my money. And it was like, why don't you think about it? I mean, it was very clear, like, they didn't want me there, you know. And I don't know if it was the way I looked. I don't know what it was. That was the only thing that they could have based it on because they didn't know. And it was just like, they wouldn't even sell me a yoga class membership, a yoga class package.
that is ridiculous.
Isn't that why I forgot about that one?
And wow, that's a lot. I want to take a breath after that just so we can release. That's because what?
I know. Who turns away a
Mine's not good here. That's really like the discrimination that wasn't even inclusivity. That was also a bit of discrimination too. So that,
How about you?
oh Lord. So I don't feel like I've had a lot of like what you just experienced. For me, I specifically recall taking a course, taking a class at a fitness gym, and the lady was guiding. And this was right after I got into yoga. Right after, like a little right before I got hit by a car. I was in a car accident. Like someone hit me with
Oh,
a car.
wow.
So I was using it more of like a physical therapy and very therapeutic. And when I was going through my YTT, they were all about inclusivity. So when I went and took this class, I didn't really have experiences like that. I've always, like, the teacher that normally taught my class was always like, hey, if you can't do this, do this. And I remember, like, I never went in downward dog because I was hit by a car and I could not hold my body weight for long periods of time.
Mm-hmm.
The teacher was guiding downward dog, and I would go into child's pose or puppy pose or something other that I knew that I had been guided in through my prior classes. And When I tell you the instructor came and stood in front of my mat and said, I said downward dog.
No.
I'm like, what do you? And I like, so you interrupt my practice to tell me to get into a position as if this is the military. You are not. And then at the end of the class, I didn't say anything because I didn't want to disrupt everyone else's practice.
Right.
I just told her, I'm like, I don't feel, I'm not doing that.
Mm.
And then at the end of the class, I went up to her and I told her, I'm like, hey, I didn't really appreciate you telling me that and disrupting my practice and telling me that I needed to go into downward dog because that's what you guided. And she's like, well, maybe Vinyasa flow isn't for you. I'm like, first off, for your information, I'm actually certified in Vinyasa flow. First off. Second off, I was hit by a car, which is why I can't do that. And third off, I need your name so that I can really report you to the gym. Needless to say, she didn't work there anymore because that's what I do. But yeah, she basically told me I didn't need to be in her class if I couldn't handle the positions that she was guiding.
And this brings up like a really good point here is we don't know what's going on in other people's bodies. We don't know their history. We don't know what they're dealing with from day to day. I manage condos. I clean condos today. My body right now is reacting to the chemicals and the cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
This morning, I could have done a practice. Today, it's like in my joints. It's in my hands. So, you know, I wouldn't be able to do a downward dog right at this moment. And that has nothing to do with, am I able to? Yeah, I'm able to. Do I want to because I'm honoring my body? No.
Exactly.
No.
Inclusivity, like with yoga, they have taking away, like some people get into these positions to feel as though they're in charge as opposed to realizing that they are just mere guides. Like I'm a teacher, but I'm not like the instructor. Like what I say, and I always say this in the beginning of my classes, this is the speech I give. I say, hey, my name is Trinity, and today I'm going to be guiding you through a yoga practice. However, know that everything that I am giving and offering to you today is a suggestion, and I would like for you to honor your own bodies. And if anything I ever guide you into doing feels discomfortable, please let me know, and I can show you something else that can work for your body type. That is it. I never want anyone to feel bad because they can't do something because there are plenty of things I cannot do and everyone's body is different. I wouldn't be able to fold in a way. Like I'm more flexible than most and some people aren't as flexible as me. And we have to learn how to honor and respect those differences, especially within this community.
I love that Dawn Keeping Fit just said, honoring your body is yoga. 100%. And I do a similar thing to Trinity. I say, I am here to make suggestions. Your body is your teacher today. Yes. I'm not the teacher. Your body is the teacher. And I want you to listen to your body because I can tell you, I don't know, I can tell you to stand on one foot, hop up and down, pat your head. If that's not it, then that's okay. Like do whatever feels good, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, I love that. I'm just doing my YTT, and that's very important to know, even for my own practice. 100%. And Sarah, my little advice there too is when I was in YTT, my teachers used to always tell me, your practice, your personal practice is so important. It's what's going to inform you as a teacher. And I really didn't make that connection then. And now I 100% do, and I totally get it. And so I'm like, when you hear that, you will teach what you practice, and that is how you're going to show up as a yoga guide authentically, because you're honoring your body. Therefore, then you're giving permission for everyone else in the room to honor their body.
It's like a lead follow, basically.
Oh yeah.
So many times where I'm guiding people into, like, I always start my practice at the base. Like, everyone can do this. Like, I don't care what you're doing, you can do this. And even if you don't want to do this, you can just lay there if you want to do that. If that's fine too. But by the time I get to the higher end, like I can't hold crow for more than 3 seconds, but I can guide other people into it. And I love the fact that there's the versatility of being able to include people who are even more masterful or more skilled than you, and also being able to guide people who are on a lesser scale to you. That's what inclusivity is. It's not just like, oh, only focusing on those people, but also allowing other people to realize what the spectrum of yoga is, so that they know, like, hey, sometimes it's okay to go back to the basics and rebuild that construct in your own body. So I love that you were saying that.
Yeah, Sarah asked, how do you deal with the internal discrimination of, oh, I can't do that pose the right way? Well, first of all, we're going to take out the right
Right.
way, because there's no right way to do yoga. There's no wrong way to do yoga. So, yoga is your practice, not a perfection. And we're going to let that go. I just read yesterday that BKS Iyengar, I think it was, stopped doing chaturanga after the age of 40 because of his body, and started honoring this.
I
I want to
love
make sure I did say, I might have the wrong teacher, but it was someone who was a senior teacher with all of that experience and all of that knowledge, started, oh, I get chills, knew to listen to his body and said, this pose is no longer a part of my practice. I'm letting this go. And when I was in YTT, I struggled with that a lot. Like, how am I going to get up there and teach people how to go through the asana, and I'm not going to be able to do most of these poses? Well, first of all, it's never been an issue. It's never come up in all of these years. I teach what is my practice, and those are my students, the ones that are attracted to that. If somebody wants to come to my class and shows up and is like trying to do a headstand, or I mean literally a headstand or something like that, they're going to figure out real quick that this probably isn't the class that they're looking for. But you know what? I still honor that. If that's their practice, that's
that.
okay. I just ask that you don't come to a beginner's class and pop up into some real difficult poses. But also reminding ourselves that asana is only one part of the practice.
Yes. There
It's
eight.
just one.
There
There's
eight.
8 limbs, and it's not even the first one.
It's not. It's like the third or fourth.
It's down there. It's the third one, and we got to remember that when Patanjali wrote these sutras,
Yeah.
he was very intentional how everything was
Oh,
lined up. It
there's.
was very intentional. Ahimsa came first, because everything that follows is to be done in ahimsa. And
Exactly.
if doing a yoga pose is not good for your body, is not safe, does not feel good for your body,
Yes.
yeah.
Yoga, it helps to form your niche, find your people, and your people are so happy to find you. Exactly. And that's something I had to learn in my own practice, because when I first came into yoga, like, I found myself always in white spaces, just because that's what was accessible to me, and that's what was portrayed as what yoga was. And since then, I have found such a community here in Philadelphia with so many people that look like me, that align with me, and to find my tribe, to find people who actually are about not just even yoga, but healing and getting deep into like root work and generational healing and generational trauma and being inclusive, and, you know, being all about authenticity and finding who you truly are inside. That is something I can definitely say has changed my life. That was the breaking point of this yoga, not me figuring out how to do this pose. Like, yes, the poses are very important, and it's a way to definitely get into with your body. It really is a meditation. But the main thing for yoga is learning how to be in tune with yourself, and then finding, like, your cool, your people, like your group, your sacred family that can really help uplift you and help you move and navigate through life. I feel like that is important. Like how I
I,
found you.
I was so excited when you were telling me about the spaces that you're able to practice in. Like, that makes me so extremely happy that there are spaces like that out there in existence and feeling good. Cost is a significant barrier to people, keeping people out, excluding people from yoga. So I really love studios or places that have sliding scale pricing, donation, scholarship. I try to be a little weary of like work trade kind of things because that can get a little, you
I love
know,
it just
but
because I feel like I'm old in days. Like, can we go back to the barter system? That's just me.
no,
Like,
I do barter a lot of things, but you have to be really careful. Sometimes studios, and that's like another discussion, will take really big advantage of that. But you know, be careful. I love the sliding scale. I
yeah,
think it's amazing. And finding places outside of the traditional yoga studio. I mean, gyms can be more affordable sometimes. Community
right.
centers.
Parks.
There you go.
Love my yoga in the parks. They're coming back.
I love that you do that. What's
They're,
that?
I said they're coming back. By the way, I got approved like so many dates. Wait for release
That's
date.
awesome. There's my friend Jen, all the way from Chicago.
Okay.
Um,
Everyone who's joining, just so I thank you
yeah.
guys for joining.
Uh, the
Funny.
student, the community center that I teach at only charges $3 a class.
I love that.
Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
I love that so much. So I have found myself gravitating more towards those places that are more inclusive and accessible to people.
Yeah,
That's where I want to be, you
I
know?
love that. Okay, so I want to be mindful of time because it's 6:56, and we said we were going to do this for
It's
30 minutes.
flown by.
I told you it would, so I'm like, I'm being good with time. We're going to be good. All right, so I want to
Yes.
with this last thing, and then we can wrap up. So the last thing is like describe how you bring inclusivity to your class as an individual teacher. Like, what is something specifically that you do?
Oh, I do a lot of things.
I
It's
know.
going to be a long answer. So I love that Sarah just jumped in there and said, don't forget about doing it online. I am doing a lot more online yoga classes now because of the population that I teach. So pre-pandemic, people with disabilities were really excluded from these places. And because the pandemic forced a lot of studios to go online, suddenly they started recognizing that, oh, we have a whole group of people who want to practice yoga with us, but can't come into the traditional studio who are now joining us for classes online. So Zoom made yoga very inclusive for a lot of people, and that's really amazing. I watch the language that I use. I try not to use hierarchy and poses. I try to use invitational language, like try this, or and I try not to say if you can't do this, because I might be able to can do it. I just don't want to do it, or it doesn't feel good today.
Up to this is what I say.
So
If you
I'll be like, I invite you. Oh
mm,
yeah, or try this, or I invite you, or explore this, or move or be still, whatever you want to do. Like really just letting people, and I try to use the terms like, oh, this is gonna feel really good in this spot, or you're gonna feel it here because everybody's gonna feel things differently. Like I said, every body is different, so every pose, every practice is gonna be a little different. Um, let me see. Just like we said before, just normalizing a variety of options in the class, I feel like. And so teaching in spaces that I feel that are more inclusive. Also, just our personal work, like you do this too, is that we're trying to change the imagery that is out there of
yeah,
yoga. So if you are a plus size yoga practitioner, or if you're a practitioner of color, if you are a practitioner with a disability or a different body, share those pictures, put them out there. Let's make it so when we used to Google yoga, it was all of that image that we were seeing. Now it's starting to fill up with different bodies, and I'm super excited as we're seeing that change. So we got to change that imagery. What else do you think?
okay. First, I want to read what Bronx Switch said because you were
Oh
talking.
yeah.
She said, the first time I heard a yoga teacher say, I offer you this variety of the pose if it's accessible to you, was such a wow moment. And she puts like a little huggy emoji.
I
I'm like,
love that.
exactly. And I feel like that's what's so important is making people feel in tune with their body. For me, what I do to make people feel inclusive is that I always, like, there are times where we just sit and breathe. I'm very mindful of how I direct and guide people. And like you said, languaging is definitely everything. Like, even when it comes to using feminine and masculine pronouns,
Mm.
like there's so many things, so many ways that you can make someone feel um less than, even if it's not your intention. So it's like inclusivity is not just including all, but being mindful of all at the same time, and having that awareness when you're directing them, because the last thing you want to do is to be trying to create a space for someone to feel comfortable and welcome, and you end up making them feel small and unwelcome and like excluded from that experience. That's horrible. So I think that's it. One thing I definitely do, like I said, I always start out like, I do tiers. Like when I'm building my yoga practice, I build them in tiers. The first tier is always the most simplest thing, and as I'm guiding them into something more difficult, I always say, if your body doesn't feel like doing this, if you're not feeling open to this, you can always stick with that first movement that we did in the beginning, and then that can be your practice of just repeating those movements, and if you're feeling up to it, that's what it is. So always having options, definitely, for people, making people feel definitely comfortable in those situations. So that
Diane, yeah,
Go
Diane
ahead.
Bondi and Amber Carnes do a yoga for all training. And this is good for people, even if you're not a yoga teacher, it's a really good training to take if you're struggling to find teachers that help you with this class. And they use what they call the bus stop method. And it's like, here's your first bus stop, and then here's your second bus stop, and here's your third bus stop. And the cool thing about bus stops is you can go down the road and maybe go to Starbucks, and then you think, well, okay, and this is my town layout. And then the next stop is going to be Walmart. But if you change your mind and decide you don't want to go to Walmart, you want to go back to the Starbucks, you can do that. Like you can get back on and go back to that first bus stop. And like it's your practice, it's your body, your breath, your movement. And I just feel like when we invite our students to connect with that body and listen to that body, like it's a big healing process. It's amazing.
I
It's
love
amazing. Sarah said, looking and seeing people on Insta that in other places that looks like her makes a huge difference to me. It does to me too.
find
And
people like you, and it's nothing, and there's also nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong with wanting to find people, find representation for your body. No offense, I don't want to watch a skinny white person do yoga for me, because it's not going to, like, it's not something I feel comfortable doing. It's not my body. I want to see someone that looks like me representing a practice that I love. And it has nothing against that other person who's doing it, but that's what is always shown.
oh yeah, I was never going to be a yoga teacher because obviously this fat old uh, chronically ill body was not going to be able to stand up in front of a room and tell people how to move their bodies, because it was just not going to happen. And then I found Amber Carnes and Diane Bondi, and I was like, wait, what? And seeing people practicing in bigger bodies, Jessamine Stanley, Dana, I forgot her name all of a sudden. I started seeing these different bigger plus size bodies practicing yoga, and I was like, wait, they're teachers. I can do, I can be a teacher, and never plan to be a teacher. I think a lot of people say that in YCC, but
I
we need more of these diverse bodies. We need them.
Yes, I love that. I feel like we're going to end it here. I love that everyone listened and came. Thank you guys so
Yes,
much.
thank you.
This yoga chat, first of many. Um, Tune in next week where we dig in deeper and talk about the toxic traits of yoga. That one will be fun.
Well,
Um,
how are we going to do that in 30 minutes? I don't know. We'll be good. We'll be good.
we might designate a little bit more time for that, because we don't know. But thank you all. You have anything you want to add, Sunny?
I just wanted to say, but don't forget that in 2 weeks, we'll have a meditation and a little practice to share with you too.
Hmm,
So, Mm-hmm. And
So
it will be inclusive.
inclusivity. Wouldn't that be something? We sit here and do an inclusive whole yoga chat, and then the whole time we're doing it, it's like, all right, now get in this pose.
It would never happen. It would never happen. But it's fantastic. Thank you all for joining us. And again, Trinity, thank you so much for inviting me on your platform to
Thank you.
have this amazing talk because I love to talk about
Thank you
yoga.
for accepting to be a part of this amazing talk. And I like literally fell in love with you. When I first saw you on yoga, I was like, oh my gosh, she's fucking adorable.
Oh,
I'm
the
following.
feelings were 100% mutual. Like you are amazing. You make me so happy. And
I felt
if
your
you're following me and not following Trinity, get on her page. You will not regret it. You'll love it. She's amazing.
I think I like almost all of your posts. I was like, wait, I'm in 2019. This is kind of not. I should probably not stop liking.
I was like, hey, this person likes me. I should follow them. And then I was like, oh, yay.
I'm happy we found each other. Thank you guys
Our
for
little love fest. Thank you for joining our little love fest.
yes. We will be
Uh,
week, same time, same place. And I want to thank you all. I'm going to end it there.
and you're going to
Oh,
post this. Are you posting this on your YouTube page?
I was about to say that. Like, I am posting this on my YouTube page, and I am also going to post it on my website. So you guys can go look at both of those, and they're going to be posted. I'm going to save it on here, and I was even like, we're going to have it, so you guys can always share it or whatever. Yay! And I'm going to send it to you on your page as well.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, everybody have a great night, and come see us next week. Same time, same place.
Bye.